AITA for forcing my son to wait to marry his then high school girlfriend? I, F50s, have two sons, Dan, M22, and Sam, M27. Dan started dating Fran in their junior year. Towards the end of senior year, Dan came to me and said he wanted to marry Fran. At the time, Dan had multiple college options which he was going to decline to stay in our town and marry Fran. I obviously didn't support this. I wanted my son to go to college and knew he wanted that too, as he'd always been ambitious. I told my son that he had his whole life ahead of him and he could get married later, but didn't need to rush it. I told him that if he went to college and waited, even just a year or two, I'd pay for his tuition. At the time I didn't know how serious their relationship was, as they'd been together for a little over a year, and was scared it wouldn't work out and he'd waste this opportunity. My son happily accepted this offer and agreed with me that it would be best to wait. This year my son graduated college but maintained a long-distance relationship with Fran, and they announced their engagement a couple months ago. We were all ecstatic about it. Sometime between then and now, my son told Fran that I was the reason he waited until now to propose. I wasn't aware until Christmas when, during dinner, Fran said she wanted to say something. She began saying I paid my son to not marry her and actively tried to ruin their relationship. She then said she was blessed that evil hadn't won, and couldn't wait to have a long and happy marriage. Everyone was silent and didn't really know what to say. My son approached me later to apologize and said she had twisted his words, but it's been constantly weighing on my mind, as friends and family present all have different opinions. Edit. If my son had married Fran out of high school, he wouldn't have gone to college. My son chose to go to a school so far away. There were closer options, but he liked the school he chose. I will be showing Dan this thread and update if he responds. Edit 2. Fran currently works at her mother's bakery. She wants to be a som once they get married and was waiting for Dan to come back home. NTA. She began saying I paid my son to not marry her and actively tried to ruin their relationship. She then said she was blessed that evil hadn't won, and couldn't wait to have a long and happy marriage. She said all this in front of her fiancé's family during Christmas dinner? Yikes. NTA. What Fran did was extremely inappropriate and a huge red flag. If I were your son, I'd be very cautious now with marrying her. What you did was the right thing. We've all been there at 18 and in love and willing to give up our whole futures for the one. But statistically those relationships never work out, and 18-year-olds tend to have very naive view of the world. You simply wanted what's best for your son, which is to continue on to college and be set up with the best future ahead for his life. You didn't ask him to break up with Fran. And if she truly loved him and cared for him, she would understand why this was the right thing to do. Not only did she twist your wanting the best for your son as evil, she's also pitted herself against you as someone who does not support their relationship, which is not true. If they continue with the relationship, I can see Fran causing a lot more drama between your son and his family. NTA. The fact that your son didn't clear the air when she announced that shows what your future will be like with your deal. You are now going to be known as the evil Mill, and your grandchildren will most likely know you for that too. You advised him to go on a certain path so he could ensure his future is set with his partner. You didn't tell him to separate with her. I don't see a part anywhere here where you actively tried to ruin their relationship, unless you omitted something where you attempted to have them separate while they were long distance. You need to ensure your son clears this up ASAP or get ready to be the evil Mill. NTA. You only wanted what was best for your son. And given how Fran is acting with a few more years of maturity, I can't fault you for having reservations about him rushing into marriage with her. It honestly sounds like she thrives on dramatics. And her use of hyperbolic language suggests to me that her assessment that she's going to have a long and happy marriage is a little presumptuous. NTA. And your son should seriously rethink this relationship. Fran doesn't sound very nice. NTA. And honestly, if she loved and wanted the best for your son, she would have wanted him to go to college and have you pay for it so he's not in student loan debt. NTA. Wow. Fran is a piece of work. Imagine having your partner be able to start your married life as an educated person free of debt, and being bitter about that fact. I hope it's immaturity and poor manners that led her to act this way, otherwise your son might be in for an unpleasant life. NTA. Just out of curiosity, does your family live in a small town? Doesn't really matter. But I always noticed that my HS friends with big ambitions who married or had a baby right out of high school got stuck in my small hometown. Nothing wrong with starting a family, but it would be something I'd regret. NTA. Your future Dill showed to the entire family that you were correct and that your son was wise to delay marriage. Info. What has Fran done during this time? Does she have a skill set for a career she is happy in? Trade or degree? Or did she just stay in the town and not move on from the high school drama-filled scene? NTA. You offered Dan a choice. Remain a dependent and what that entails, or become an independent married man. He chose. He's not taking accountability for his choice. Your future Dill has no class or manners. If she had a grievance, she would have brought forward her issue as an adult. In private, she was a guest in your home and showed a considerable lack of respect for you. Print this off and share it with your son when you tell him that it's best you have minimal contact until she offers an apology. NTA. Blessed that evil hadn't won. Calling her a drama queen would be too kind. NTA. Any chance your son is planning on grad school? NTA. What you did was extremely sensible. However, her reaction is a big red flag for your son. Most women would realize that going to college and waiting to marry was in fact the right thing to do. Her reaction shows she is very immature. That's never a good thing when you're getting married. NTA. In the future, be prepared to wear an attitude like, "You're welcome," if she brings it up again. Reply as if she is expressing gratitude for the fact that you gave her an educated man to marry, instead of a boy fresh out of high school. Info. Is Fran always stirring the pot? In other words, does she like to create drama and discord? NTA. And this is why you shouldn't marry someone based on, "Wow, we got through high school together. Must be a sign we were meant to be." Quote. NTA. Fran is. Your son choose to accept your offer. She needs to accept that this was his choice. NTA. You didn't stop them getting married. You convinced him to go to college and wait until he was in a better position. Fran seems to have some niave romantic idea about marriage. Maybe she isn't ready for it yet. NTA. Though you offered to pay for his tuition, you didn't force your son. You merely gave him an option. It was still his decision to choose his studies first. His GF doesn't have the rights to say those words to you. You were just looking out for your son. And who would benefit the most? Of course the GF.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.